Watch. In the previous episode, we uncovered the statistics. 20,000 people have vanished in Alaska without a trace, without bodies, without explanations. But what's happening now is even more unsettling. A group of scientists disappears in just 20 minutes, taking the latest technology and communications gear with them. They were following a mapped route, and they simply vanished. All 8 GPS trackers stopped in the same instant. The satellites picked up nothing. Thermal cameras showed only emptiness. A streamer vanished live on air. The camera kept rolling. You hear him? No. A voice in the stream. What is this? Only the wind. The tent was found in perfect condition, dinner ready over the fire. But the people were gone. It feels as if someone, or something, is always watching, waiting for just the right moment. As if this place chooses its victims. Neural networks detect a pattern, but still can't predict who will be next. Scientists confess, this isn't a crime, this is a fault in reality itself. Once again, Alaska takes and seems to warn, don't dig any deeper. With the dawn of the 21st century, Alaska entered the era of advanced technology, but disappearances haven't stopped. In some ways, they've become even more bizarre. Satellite links, GPS navigation, and mobile phones should have made vanishing less likely. But the numbers tell a different story. From 2000 to 2020, Alaska saw 3,600 cases of people gone missing. That's a 57% increase over the previous 20 years, accounting for both the population and the growing tourist flow. Modern disappearances are marked by new anomalous behaviors, especially by electronic devices. GPS trackers show impossible routes. Mobile phones transmit signals from fictional locations. Digital cameras capture inexplicable images. The Alaska Department of Public Safety has created a dedicated division for analysis of digital evidence in missing persons cases. Forensic checks of missing people's devices revealed anomalies that cannot be explained as ordinary technical malfunctions. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has classified 27 Alaskan disappearances as anomalous because of inexplicable technical data. These cases are now in the hands of the Special Division for Investigation of Unusual Phenomena. Modern search and rescue teams use drones, thermal imagers, satellite observation, and other advanced means. Yet their effectiveness hasn't improved compared to earlier decades. On August 5, 2017, 32-year-old California tourist Jennifer Cole set out alone on a trek through Denali National Park. An experienced climber and travel blogger, she planned a 7-day route capturing Alaska's wildlife. Jennifer carried the latest tech, Garmin GPS watch with SOS function, InReach satellite messenger, an iPhone with spare batteries, and a professional Canon camera with built-in GPS. She kept a detailed blog of her journey, regularly posting photos and location updates to her social networks. The final post was published on August 6th at 6:30 p.m., pinpointed at the base of Mount McKinley. On August 7th, Cole's devices began transmitting strange data. Her GPS watch showed her location in 3 different places at once, hundreds of miles apart. Her satellite communicator sent an automated message. Everything's fine, but the landscape has changed. I see structures that aren't on the map. GPS is showing the wrong coordinates. That was her last message. The search began immediately, but investigators could not find Cole at the GPS locations provided. Her tent and most of her gear were later discovered 15 miles from the last known position, deep in inaccessible terrain. A forensic analysis of Jennifer Cole's electronic devices revealed multiple anomalies, none of which could be explained by hardware failure or human error. The Garmin GPS watch recorded a route physically impossible to walk. According to the data, Cole supposedly covered 230 miles in 4 hours, equal to a speed of 57 miles per hour across rugged ground. The barometric altimeter showed altitude changes from sea level to 20,000 feet and back within minutes, impossible under stable weather conditions. Her Canon digital camera held photos that, according to GPS data, were taken in different time zones simultaneously. Some images depicted landscapes that didn't match Alaskan geography. In one shot, a sunset over the ocean appeared, though the nearest coastline was over 300 miles from Cole's presumed location. The metadata pointed to coordinates in the Arctic Ocean. Her mobile phone logged signals from cell towers that didn't exist in the operator's databases. The tower numbers didn't match any known telecom system. On September 12, 2019, veteran guide Thomas Rivera led a group of 4 tourists on a route near the Mendenhall Glacier. The 45-year-old Rivera had worked as a guide for 16 years and had an impeccable reputation. The group was equipped with commercial-grade GPS, satellite phones, and emergency beacons. Each participant also carried a personal GPS tracker for real-time monitoring. The route was well-known and safe, following marked trails with several checkpoints. The weather was ideal: clear skies, 15 degrees Celsius, and no wind. At 2:20 p.m., Rivera contacted base by satellite phone, reporting normal progress along the route. The group was at the 3rd checkpoint on schedule. At 2:45 p.m., the monitoring system recorded abnormal behavior from all GPS trackers. Devices showed the group moving at over 100 miles an hour towards the North Pole. 10 minutes later, all GPS signals suddenly stopped. Attempts to reach the group by satellite phone and emergency channels failed. A search operation was launched immediately, involving helicopters, ground teams, and specialized equipment. The 3rd checkpoint was easily located. A clear trail of 6 people led from the checkpoint, including Rivera's distinct boot prints. The tracks continued along the standard trail for 200 yards. At a certain spot, all 6 sets of tracks abruptly vanished. Experts in tracking could not explain the sharp disappearance of the prints in open terrain. The search zone was expanded to a 50-mile radius. Thermal imaging cameras, trained search dogs, and ground-penetrating radar were used to look under the snow. After 2 weeks, no trace of the group was found. Rescue teams checked all possible shelters, caves, crevices, and other natural formations. Underwater searches in nearby lakes and rivers also yielded nothing. Families hired a private search company using drones with thermal cameras and magnetometers. Over a month, the company surveyed 1,000 square miles without finding a single clue. On November 3, 2021, independent researcher of anomalous phenomena, David Chen, arrived in Alaska to study areas with the highest disappearance rates. The 38-year-old physicist from MIT specialized in electromagnetic anomalies. Chen brought scientific instruments to measure magnetic fields, radiation backgrounds, and electromagnetic emissions. He also used military-grade GPS receivers and interference-protected radios. His expedition was planned as a 2-week study around Iliamna Lake, known for the greatest number of unexplained disappearances. Chen notified his university of his plans and was expected to report daily. On November 4th, Chen reported detecting strong magnetic anomalies on the lake's northern shore. His instruments recorded magnetic field fluctuations 10 times greater than usual. On November 5th, Chen's final message carried a sense of urgency. GPS is showing my location as latitude 90 degrees north, the North Pole. All 3 independent receivers give the same result. This is impossible. After this, all contact with Chen was lost. His base camp was found intact, but the researcher and his scientific equipment had vanished without a trace. Chen's colleagues from MIT analyzed the last data transmitted before he disappeared. The information contained anomalies that defied established physical laws. Chen's magnetometer recorded a local magnetic field strength of 150,000 nanoteslas, 300 times the normal Earth magnetic field. Such intensity could disrupt all electronic equipment within the GPS radius. The data revealed not only impossible coordinates, but satellite trajectories that violated the laws of celestial mechanics. According to the receiver logs, GPS satellites were moving along orbits inconsistent with physical reality. A radiation detector registered a brief spike in gamma radiation, 1,000 times above background, apparently emanating from 500 meters beneath the ground. The barometer displayed atmospheric pressure corresponding to an altitude of 30,000 feet, even though Chen was at sea level. Temperature sensors registered both plus 20 and minus 40 degrees Celsius simultaneously. MIT physicists concluded either all Chen's devices simultaneously failed in an unprecedented way, or he encountered an unknown physical phenomenon. A review of disappearances in the 21st century revealed new characteristics. Modern missing persons cases often leave digital traces filled with physically impossible information. GPS coordinates point to non-existent places. Devices register readings that break the laws of physics. Group disappearances have become more frequent. In the last 20 years, 30 cases of simultaneous vanishings involving 2 to 6 people have been recorded, a 200% increase compared to previous decades. Electronic devices belonging to the missing often continue sending signals after the owners have disappeared, but from locations where no physical evidence is ever found. Social networks and messengers sometimes receive messages from accounts of the missing days or even weeks later. Forensic analysis confirms the messages are sent from victims' devices, but the content is often incoherent or refers to places not found on any map. Temporal anomalies are a distinctive sign of recent cases. Digital devices register timestamps with dates in the past or future, sometimes decades away. GPS manufacturers have received hundreds of reports about abnormal device behavior in Alaska. Garmin created a special task force dedicated to studying Alaska's anomalies and developing more resilient devices. Apple and Google analyze data on strange smartphone behavior in specific Alaskan areas. Companies are designing special algorithms to filter out impossible GPS coordinates. Satellite communicator manufacturers, Iridium and Inmarsat, report receiving unexplained signals from devices in regions where satellite coverage should theoretically be impossible due to terrain. Survival app developers have added features for anomalous zones, accounting for the possibility of faulty GPS data and suggesting alternative navigation methods. The U.S. Federal Communications Commission initiated a $3 million study into Alaska's digital anomaly zones to identify causes of electronic equipment failures. The U.S. Department of Defense has classified certain data on Alaska's electronic anomalies, fueling speculation about secret military experiments or new weapon testing. Officially, Alaska state and federal agencies attribute the high number of disappearances to extreme natural conditions. The Alaska Department of Public Safety keeps detailed weather statistics linked to disappearances. From 2000 to 2020, 73% of disappearances occurred during adverse weather. Sudden snowstorms and fog with visibility under 100 yards are common deadly traps. Temperature swings over 30 degrees within an hour can create life-threatening situations. The National Weather Service records up to 300 extreme weather events annually in Alaska. Temperatures may plunge to minus 70 degrees Fahrenheit, with winds reaching speeds of 120 miles per hour. The phenomenon known as whiteout, complete loss of visibility during snowstorms, can occur within minutes without warning. In such conditions, a person can become lost just yards from shelter and freeze before finding their way back. Hypothermia sets in rapidly at low temperatures combined with strong winds. At minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 30 miles per hour wind, exposed skin can freeze in 10 minutes. 92% of bodies found after winter disappearances show signs of death by hypothermia, confirming weather as the leading cause of most tragedies. Alaska is home to North America's largest predators. The brown bear population is about 30,000, making human encounters statistically unavoidable in remote areas. The Alaska Department of Fish and Game records an average of 5 fatal bear attacks annually. However, the actual number may be higher since some victims vanish completely without signs of attack. Alaskan brown bears can weigh up to 800 kilograms and reach speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. They can smell humans from up to 3 miles away and often display territorial aggression. Wolves form packs of up to 20 individuals and can pursue prey over long distances. Although attacks on humans are rare, there have been documented cases when packs surrounded and attacked lone travelers. Wolverines, despite their relatively small size, are extremely aggressive and can attack without provocation. Their powerful jaws can crush bones, and their claws easily tear flesh. Moose, though herbivores, are responsible for more attacks on humans than bears. Males weighing up to 700 kilograms are particularly aggressive during the rutting season from September to October. Alaska is located in a seismically active zone, experiencing about 24,000 earthquakes annually. Most are minor, but strong tremors can trigger avalanches, landslides, and ground fissures. The magnitude 9.2 earthquake in 1964 demonstrated the devastating power of seismic activity. Such powerful shocks can instantly reshape large territories. Permafrost covers 85% of Alaska to depths of hundreds of meters. Melting of the upper layers forms treacherous bogs and sinkholes that can swallow a person without a trace. Glaciers move several feet per day, creating crevices hundreds of meters deep, often hidden by thin snow cover, turning them into deadly traps. Avalanches pose a constant threat in mountainous areas. The Alaska Avalanche Center records an average of 25 fatal avalanche deaths annually. Volcanic activity adds another risk factor. Alaska is home to 54 active volcanoes whose eruptions can create toxic gas clouds and ash rain. Magnetic anomalies make traditional compass navigation highly unreliable. Magnetic needle deviation can reach 45 degrees from true north, depending on location. The polar night in northern regions lasts up to 67 days, depriving travelers of sunlight for orientation. In constant darkness, even familiar terrain can become disorienting, and the monotonous tundra landscape offers no distinctive landmarks for hundreds of miles. Travelers can walk in circles unknowingly until supplies run out. Rapidly changing weather can render known routes unrecognizable. A snowstorm can alter a landscape beyond recognition within an hour. Arctic optical illusions, mirages, false horizons, distorted distances, confuse even experienced travelers, especially under certain atmospheric conditions. GPS systems suffer disruption from ionospheric disturbances and signal reflections off ice surfaces. Positioning accuracy can drop from 3 meters to 50 in extreme conditions. Alaska boasts more than 3 million lakes and 30,000 miles of rivers, many presenting deadly hazards to the unprepared. Water temperatures rarely rise above 10 degrees Celsius, even in summer. Immersion in such cold water causes cold shock that can lead to drowning within minutes. Ice jams on rivers create additional navigation dangers. Ice flows can suddenly shift, sweeping away boats and people. The force of moving ice can reach thousands of tons per square meter. Tides in coastal areas can rise up to 30 feet, turning safe shallows into deep channels within hours. Many disappearances are linked to unexpected tidal waves. Underwater currents in rivers are often unpredictable due to shifting ice cover and seasonal water level changes. Even experienced kayakers can be caught in sudden currents. Thin ice poses a particular danger in spring and fall. Ice less than 4 inches thick cannot support human weight, yet may appear solid from above. Alaska's medical examiner tracks detailed causes of death in the wilderness. Over the past 20 years, 2,300 natural deaths were recorded in remote areas. Hypothermia accounts for 42% of wilderness deaths. Most victims are found within a mile of shelter, indicating disorientation in their final moments. Falls cause 23% of deaths. Slippery surfaces, hidden obstacles, and poor visibility lead to fatal falls from heights or into crevices. Heart attacks triggered by physical stress and anxiety cause 15% of deaths. Thin air at altitude and extreme temperatures strain the cardiovascular system. Drowning accounts for 12%, mostly due to boat capsizes in cold water or falling through ice. Animal attacks cause 5%, though this may be underestimated due to some victims vanishing without signs of attack. Poisoning from toxic plants or contaminated water accounts for 3%. Many edible plants have poisonous lookalikes, and water sources may contain toxic minerals. Alaska's search and rescue consistently supports natural causes for most disappearances. Colonel James McKenzie, who has led the service since 2015, regularly explains that 95% of search operations end with finding people, alive or dead, in places consistent with natural causes. The remaining 5% are attributed to insufficient resources in vast, inaccessible terrain. The service notes many mysterious disappearances eventually receive natural explanations. Bodies are sometimes found years later in places previously searched due to glacial movements, soil erosion, or animal activity. Statistical analysis shows 80% of those who vanished were inadequately prepared for the conditions, including insufficient clothing, food, water, or communication gear. Seasonal workers and tourists make up 60% of the missing, supporting the theory that inexperienced people underestimate the wild. The service warns that while modern technology is helpful, it can create a false sense of security. People rely on GPS and satellite phones without survival skills to manage without electronics. The Alaska Department of Public Safety developed comprehensive wilderness safety guidelines based on analyses of disappearances and accidents. Mandatory recommendations include informing a reliable contact of your route and return time, carrying emergency communication devices, having extra food and water for at least a day, and wearing weather-appropriate clothing for worst-case scenarios. Traveling in groups of at least 3 is advised, as statistics show significantly fewer incidents in groups. Solo travelers account for 70% of disappearances. Survival training is mandatory for guide licensing and strongly recommended for all wilderness visitors. Courses cover navigation without GPS, fire-making, shelter building, and distress signaling. Constant weather monitoring is essential. Plans must change when the forecast worsens. Many tragedies happen because people refuse to cancel plans during bad weather. Modern technology should supplement, not replace, traditional skills. GPS can fail, batteries drain, satellite signals cut out at critical moments. Independent researchers propose alternative explanations for Alaska's extraordinarily high disappearance rate. Dr. Michael Persinger of Laurentian University studies the effects of geomagnetic fields on human consciousness and behavior. His research shows that specific electromagnetic frequencies can affect the temporal lobes of the brain, causing hallucinations, disorientation, and irrational actions. The frequency of 7.8 Hz is especially effective at inducing altered states of consciousness. Natural electromagnetic oscillations in Alaska occur precisely in this range, generated by the interaction of solar wind with Earth's magnetosphere. Their intensity exceeds global averages by tens of times. Experiments with volunteers showed exposure to fields of such strength can evoke sensations of invisible presences, distort perceptions of time and space, and create an overwhelming urge to move in a certain direction. Stanford University neurophysiology professor, Dr. Suzanne Greenfield suggests natural electromagnetic fields can disrupt the hippocampus, the brain area responsible for spatial navigation and memory. The magnetic labyrinth theory explains cases where experienced travelers get lost in familiar terrain. Anomalous fields can disrupt the brain's internal compass, causing people to walk in circles or head the wrong way. Ultrasound and infrasound are also factors. University of Alaska geologist Dr. Robert Hansen studies seismic activity's role in generating ultrasonic and infrasonic vibrations. These frequencies, inaudible to humans, can profoundly affect physiology and psyche. Infrasound below 20 Hz is generated by tectonic processes, glacier movement, and atmospheric phenomena. Alaska's infrasonic activity is about 5 times higher than other U.S. regions. Research shows infrasound at 7 Hz resonates with eye globes, causing visual hallucinations. At 19 Hz, infrasound affects the inner ear, disrupting balance and spatial orientation. French researcher Vladimir Gavreau found that infrasound of certain intensity can trigger panic attacks, unexplained fear, and urgent flight impulses, an effect called phantom purity. Ultrasonic vibrations above 20 kHz can also impact the nervous system, causing dizziness, nausea, disorientation, and, in extreme cases, loss of consciousness. Dr. Hansen recorded zones in Alaska with consistently high levels of infra and ultrasound vibrations. These zones geographically correspond to areas with the highest number of disappearances. Theoretical physicist Dr. John Keel proposed a hypothesis about windows between parallel realities existing at certain geographic points. According to him, Alaska might contain an abnormally high number of such transitions. Quantum physics allows the existence of multiple universes separated by thin barriers. At locations where Earth's magnetic lines intersect, these barriers may weaken, allowing interdimensional crossings. Mathematician Dr. Edward Fredkin from the University of Michigan has developed computer models showing the theoretical possibility of space-time anomalies in regions with strong magnetic fields. Evidence supporting this theory includes cases where people disappear instantly in front of witnesses, leaving only clothing or shoes behind. Such cases have been recorded 8 times in the last 30 years in Alaska. GPS anomalies showing impossible coordinates or movements are also considered potential evidence of interdimensional transitions. Devices might capture signals coming from alternate realities. This theory explains strange radio messages from missing people describing landscapes and buildings non-existent in our reality. They might be transmitting information from parallel worlds. UFO researcher Stanton Friedman analyzed UFO sightings in Alaska and found a correlation between sighting locations and disappearance zones. Over the past 50 years, more than 1,000 reports of UFO sightings have been registered. Alaska ranks second in UFO sightings per capita among all U.S. states, surpassed only by Nevada. Researcher Jack Vall notes that many disappearances in Alaska match patterns of alleged alien abductions, sudden disappearances, absence of struggle signs, and witness reports of strange lights in the sky. Analysis of pilot reports uncovered over 300 cases of unidentified aerial object sightings near disappearance sites. These objects are described as silent, luminous, and capable of instant acceleration. Radio amateurs record unusual signals on frequencies not used by terrestrial transmitters. Spectral analyses indicate artificial origins, but the sources remain unknown. Some missing people have returned days or weeks later, with gaps in memory and stories of lost time. Medical examinations revealed unexplained physiological changes. Physicist Ron Mallett from the University of Connecticut studies the possibility of natural time anomalies in zones of strong gravitational and magnetic fields. His research shows the theoretical possibility of local distortions of time. In Alaska, there have been cases where electronic clocks showed incorrect times. After visiting certain locations, devices displayed deviations ranging from 10 minutes to several hours without apparent cause. Radiocarbon dating of organic materials from some parts of Alaska yields anomalous results. Samples show ages that do not match the geological context, sometimes differing by thousands of years. Photographs taken with digital cameras in specific zones contain timestamps indicating past or future dates. Expert analysis excludes technical malfunctions or purposeful falsification. Witnesses report sensations of time slowing down or speeding up in some areas. Psychological tests show these sensations are not just subjective perception. Atomic clocks used in scientific expeditions demonstrate microsecond deviations from world time in specific spots in Alaska. Such deviations align with predictions of the theory of relativity for zones of warp space-time. Cryptozoologist Loren Coleman investigates the possible existence of unknown animal species in Alaska capable of hunting humans. Vast unexplored territories may conceal relict predators. Alaska's native peoples preserve legends of snow people, bushmen, Tlingit Kushtak, and other cryptids. Descriptions of these creatures include intelligence surpassing ordinary animals and the ability to eliminate victims without a trace. Over the past century, more than 500 reports of humanoid creatures between 8 and 12 feet tall have been recorded. Tracks of unknown animals up to 24 inches long have been found near disappearance sites. Analysis of hair and tissue samples found at alleged attack sites reveals DNA that matches no known species. Genetic material contains sequences similar to both human and bear DNA. Hunters report encounters with intelligent predators using hunting tactics unlike any known animal. These creatures are said to imitate human voices to lure victims. High-resolution satellite images have captured several large bipedal beings in remote parts of Alaska. Computer analysis rules out technical artifacts or optical illusions. Speleologist Dr. James Tabor proposed a theory of extensive underground systems in Alaska inhabited by an unknown civilization. The region's geological structure contains thousands of caves and tunnels, many unexplored. Ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed anomalous voids at depths from 10 to 100 meters. Some cavities have precise geometrical shapes, suggesting artificial origin. Miners and geologists have reported finding mysterious artifacts in the permafrost, metal objects of unknown purpose, crystal structures with perfect form, and signs of stonework done with unknown tools. Seismographs record underground sounds of unknown origin, rhythmic thumps and vibrations resembling mechanical processes. The sources lie at depths beyond the reach of current drilling technology. Temperature anomalies in certain areas indicate artificial heat sources underground. Infrared imaging reveals warm zones inexplicable by geothermal activity. Radiation detectors register faint but constant emissions from subterranean sources. Spectral analysis detects isotopes in concentrations not normally found in nature. Since the early 2000s, missing person searches in Alaska have been revolutionized by satellite technology advancements. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration provides high-resolution images for search and rescue operations. Next-generation satellites can distinguish objects as small as 30 centimeters from an orbit 700 kilometers above Earth. Multispectral cameras operate in visible infrared and radar bands, offering round-the-clock observation regardless of weather. Automated image recognition systems analyze terabytes of satellite data to identify potential signs of human activity, tents, campfires, signal markers, or tracks in the snow. Algorithms are trained to recognize over 200 object types related to wilderness survival. Thermal imaging satellites detect heat sources the size of a human body over 1,000 square kilometers. Modern infrared sensors can spot temperature anomalies as slight as 1 degree Celsius. Over the past decade, satellite surveillance has helped locate 237 missing persons, 181 of whom were found alive. Satellite search success rates reach 31%, significantly higher than traditional methods. Yet there remain cases where satellites find no trace of missing individuals even in small search zones. During the same period, 93 invisible disappearances were recorded. Drones have become indispensable to Alaska's search and rescue. Their capacity to operate safely in conditions hazardous for manned aircraft is invaluable. The state's Department of Public Safety operates a fleet of various drones. Heavy drones like the MQ-9 Reaper can stay airborne up to 14 hours, surveying up to 8,000 square kilometers per flight. They are equipped with synthetic aperture radars capable of detecting objects beneath snow at depths up to 2 meters. Compact quadcopters are used for detailed surveys of hard-to-reach places, gorges, dense forests. Their size allows them to penetrate spaces inaccessible to humans, with flight times reaching 8 hours using hydrogen fuel cells. A swarm of 20 synchronized drones can cover 500 square kilometers in a day, using collective intelligence algorithms to optimize search patterns. Each drone is equipped with 8 kilopixel resolution cameras and the latest thermal imagers. Artificial intelligence processes the live video streams, highlighting potentially important objects, movements, unusual colors, geometric shapes. The system can analyze up to 16 video streams simultaneously. Over the past 5 years, drones have found 194 missing people, including 67 alive. However, in 71 cases, drones failed to find traces of people missing in small, thoroughly searched areas. Modern thermal systems can detect the heat signature of a human body from distances up to 10 kilometers in ideal conditions. Arrays of 1 million infrared detectors create images with temperature resolution down to hundredths of a degree Celsius. Search and rescue helicopters are equipped with forward-looking infrared systems costing over $1 million each. These devices operate in the 3 to 14 micrometer range, penetrating fog, smoke, and light snow. Mobile thermal stations are deployed at base camps for round-the-clock monitoring of large areas. Automated systems track thermal anomalies and immediately alert operators to potential finds. Next-generation thermal imagers can distinguish human body heat from sun-warmed rocks or cooling campfires. Algorithms recognize the characteristic thermal signature of human bodies by size, shape, and temperature gradient. Underwater thermal systems are used to search lakes and rivers, capable of detecting bodies up to 15 meters deep, even through 1 meter thick ice. Despite high effectiveness, thermal imagers have failed to detect humans in 30 documented disappearance cases during searches conducted within hours in confined zones. Modern GPS trackers the size of wristwatches can transmit coordinates with 1 meter accuracy every 30 seconds. Devices run on solar power and have 7-day backup batteries. Iridium satellite communicators provide global coverage, including polar regions. A constellation of 60 low Earth orbit satellites guarantees communication even in Alaska's most remote areas. Personal emergency beacons like the EPIRB activate automatically upon water contact or severe impact. The 406 MHz distress signal is received by COSPAS SARSAT satellites and relayed to coordination centers within minutes. Implantable RFID chips are used by some researchers and guides for identification in emergencies. The chips contain medical information and contact details and can be read from distances up to 5 meters. Sensor networks are deployed along popular hiking routes. These devices automatically log the passage of people carrying GPS trackers or mobile phones, creating a digital trail of movement. However, in 47 cases over the past decade, GPS trackers suddenly stopped transmitting signals without apparent reason. The devices were found operational, but without their owners. DNA analysis has become a standard procedure when human remains are found in Alaska. Modern techniques allow extraction of genetic information from highly degraded samples exposed to extreme conditions. Mobile laboratories are deployed in the field for immediate analysis of recovered samples. Portable DNA sequencers deliver results within 4 hours, which is critical for ongoing search operations. Alaska's missing persons DNA database contains genetic profiles of over 2,000 individuals. Automatic real-time comparison with found samples is conducted, and detailed bone tissue analysis can determine a person's origin, diet, and long-term residency. This information assists in identifying remains of tourists and seasonal workers. Entomological expertise uses insects to determine time and place of death. Forensic entomologists study life cycles of Arctic insects for precise dating. 3D facial reconstruction from skulls aids identification when DNA analysis is impossible or inconclusive. Computer programs recreate appearances with up to 80% accuracy. The platform Missing in Alaska connects thousands of volunteers worldwide. Participants are trained to analyze satellite images and recognize survival-related objects in the wild. In 7 years, volunteers have examined over 1 million square kilometers, identifying thousands of potentially important objects. 37 discoveries have led to finding missing persons or their remains. The mobile app Alaskan allows hikers and locals to instantaneously report suspicious finds. The app automatically sends GPS coordinates and photos to the Search Coordination Center. Social networks are widely used for rapid dissemination of missing persons information. Machine learning algorithms analyze millions of posts, pinpointing potentially relevant data. Amateur radio operators have formed an emergency response network providing communication in areas without cellular coverage. 230 operators across Alaska maintain round-the-clock monitoring on emergency frequencies. Online detectives use open-source information to reconstruct the last days of missing persons. Analysis of digital traces has helped solve 3 cases in the past 5 years. Machine learning systems analyze disappearance patterns to predict the most likely locations of missing persons. Algorithms take into account weather conditions, terrain features, and behavioral models. Neural networks are trained on data from thousands of successful search operations to optimize resource allocation, prioritize search zones, and recommend types of search teams. Natural language processing scans social media posts, news articles, and police reports to find connections between different disappearances. The system uncovered 12 potential serial cases. Predictive models incorporate seasonal factors, tourist flows, and historical data to warn of high-risk periods. Accuracy of these forecasts reaches 73%. Virtual reality is used to train search and rescue teams for operating in Alaska's extreme conditions. Simulators recreate various scenarios with photorealistic precision. Computer vision automatically analyzes photos and videos from surveillance cameras, drones, and satellites, identifying objects linked to missing persons. The system processes petabytes of visual data daily. Despite impressive search technology capabilities, they face fundamental limitations in Alaska's harsh environment. Extreme temperatures cause electronics to fail, reduce battery life, and impair device accuracy. Magnetic anomalies affect compasses, GPS receivers, and navigation systems. Even the most advanced devices malfunction in certain zones. Weather conditions restrict use of aircraft and satellite observation. Dense clouds, blizzards, and fog can render optical systems useless for days or weeks. Vast territories demand impossible resources for complete coverage. Even with all available technologies, only a small fraction of the potential search area can be examined. The wilderness produces false alarms. Animals, geothermal sources, and natural phenomena generate signals indistinguishable from human activity. The human factor remains critical in search operations. The most advanced technologies require expert interpretation of data. Next-generation quantum sensors will be capable of detecting gravitational anomalies caused by a human body's mass. Theoretically, these devices could see through any obstacle. Robotic search systems will integrate ground robots, drones, and underwater vehicles into a unified network. Autonomous robots will be able to operate for months without human intervention. Nanotechnology will enable the creation of microscopic trackers invisible to their carriers. Nanosips, the size of dust particles, will transmit biometric data and coordinates in real time. Augmented reality technologies will overlay digital information onto the real landscape, helping search teams navigate and detect hidden objects. Quantum communications will provide instant connections over any distance, resistant to interference and eavesdropping. Entangled photons will transmit information faster than the speed of light. Despite technological advances, the fundamental mystery of the Alaskan Triangle may remain beyond even the most sophisticated future search systems. According to the Alaska Department of Public Safety, by 2024, there have been a total of 19,812 registered disappearances since 1970. Of these, 5,217 remain unsolved, making up 27% of the total. The annual increase in unsolved cases averages 137, a figure stable over the past 15 years. Despite advances in search technologies and increased resources dedicated to search and rescue, the numbers remain steady. Demographic analysis shows that 74% of the missing are male. The average age is 34 years. Tourists and seasonal workers make up 41% of the missing, while local residents account for 59%. Seasonal distribution shows two peaks, a summer high in July and August, and a winter peak in January and February, each accounting for 21% of disappearances. The geographical hotspots are Denali National Park with 834 cases, Iliamna Lake with 612, and the northern Brooks Range slopes with 587 cases. Economic losses from disappearances total approximately $350 million annually, including costs of search operations, lost workforce, and decreased tourism. The Alaska Missing Persons Families Association represents more than 800 families who have lost loved ones in the state. Founded in 1992, the organization has been a powerful force in shaping search and rescue policies. Chairwoman Margaret Stevens lost her son David in 2007 during a hike in gates of the Arctic National Park. In 17 years, she has organized 43 search expeditions, spending over $200,000 of her own money. Families use modern technologies to continue the search. The group Missing in Alaska includes over 50,000 participants worldwide. Members analyze satellite images, discuss theories, and coordinate search efforts. The annual Missing Persons Family Conference is held in Anchorage, featuring search and rescue services, politicians, and researchers. The conference serves as a platform for information exchange and private search coordination. The Alaska Hope Fund has raised over $2 million to finance search operations and support families. Funds are used to hire private search companies and purchase special equipment. Some families have moved to Alaska to be closer to disappearance sites and have formed informal communities to support each other through difficult times and coordinate searches. The paradox of the Alaskan Triangle lies in this. Technological advances have not reduced the number of disappearances. In fact, some modern cases have become even more baffling thanks to digital footprints that defy the laws of physics. Experts pore over terabytes of data from GPS devices, mobile phones, and digital cameras belonging to missing persons. Artificial intelligence uncovers patterns invisible to the human eye, but so far offers no explanation for the phenomenon. Quantum sensors capable of detecting the slightest changes in gravitational fields have been deployed in the zones with the highest disappearance rates. Preliminary results reveal anomalies inexplicable by modern physics. Neural networks train on data covering all disappearances of the past 50 years, seeking hidden patterns. Algorithms have identified temporal and spatial clusters, but have yet to predict new disappearances with acceptable accuracy. Blockchain technology is used to create an immutable database of disappearances, protected against falsification. Each case receives a unique digital fingerprint containing all available data and evidence. Virtual reality allows researchers to visit disappearance sites, analyzing three-dimensional terrain models with centimeter precision. VR reconstructions help form new hypotheses about the mechanisms behind these vanishings. A consortium of 12 universities has created an interdisciplinary program to study the disappearance phenomenon in Alaska. Physicists, geologists, psychologists, anthropologists, biologists, and other specialists participate in the project. Geophysical data studies connections between disappearances and geomagnetic anomalies, tectonic activity, and underground water flows. Correlation analysis reveals statistically significant links in 62% of cases. Neuroscientists are investigating the impact of electromagnetic fields on brain function and human behavior. Their experiments show that fields of certain intensities can cause disorientation and memory impairment. Ethnographers record the oral traditions of indigenous peoples, comparing ancient legends to modern disappearance cases. Remarkably, dangerous mythological locations align with current anomaly zones. Criminologists analyze the possibility of serial crimes or organized criminal activity. Statistical models exclude serial killers, but cannot explain patterns of group disappearances. Climatologists study how climate change affects disappearance rates. Arctic warming alters weather patterns and may create new types of hazards. Modern disappearances gain unprecedented coverage on social media and traditional media. The hashtag #Alaska has amassed over 50 million views on TikTok, drawing the attention of young audiences. YouTube channels dedicated to Alaska's mysteries have a combined following exceeding 10 million subscribers. Content creators conduct their own investigations, sometimes uncovering details missed by official agencies. Podcasts on Alaska's unsolved cases rank among the top 10 in the true crime genre. Listeners participate in crowdsourced investigations, analyzing evidence and proposing theories. Netflix released the documentary series Missing in Alaska, watched by over 40 million viewers in its first month. The series sparked international attention and a new wave of tourism interest. Online forums unite thousands of enthusiasts and investigators, sharing information and coordinating efforts. Some online communities have achieved real breakthroughs in solving cold cases. However, memes and urban legends spread distorted information, blurring fact and fiction. Combating this misinformation has become a critical task for official agencies. Extreme tourism brings the state an additional $50 million annually. Specialized tour operators offer trips to disappearance sites, priced from $500 to $20,000. These programs include visits to anomaly zones under the guidance of experienced guides and with specialized equipment. The entertainment industry creates films, books, games, and other content inspired by Alaska's mysteries. Licensing fees and tourist inflow from popular media generate significant revenue. However, the reputation of Alaska as a dangerous place reduces the flow of regular tourists. Family travelers avoid Alaska, fearing for their safety. Losses from decreased mass tourism are estimated at $120 million annually. Insurance companies apply higher rates for travel in Alaska. The cost of insuring extreme sports can be up to 5 times higher than average. Scientific research attracts international grants and investments. Universities and research centers have received over $20 million for studying the phenomenon in the past 10 years. The Alaska government has developed a comprehensive strategy to combat disappearances, including improvement of search and rescue services, preventive measures, and scientific research. The search and rescue budget has increased to $45 million annually. New equipment has been purchased, personnel numbers increased, and coordination between services improved. The mandatory registration law requires all visitors to remote areas to inform authorities of their plans and check in regularly at checkpoints. Violations can incur fines of up to $10,000. An early warning system alerts tourists and locals of high-risk conditions. Algorithms analyze weather data, geomagnetic activity, and statistical models to predict dangerous periods. International cooperation includes data exchange with Canada, Russia, and Norway, countries with similar Arctic conditions. A disappearance database for the circumpolar region has been established. An Anomalous Phenomena Commission was created in 2022 for scientific study of unexplained disappearances. The commission includes scientists from various fields and representatives of indigenous peoples. After more than half a century, the Alaskan disappearance phenomenon remains a scientific mystery for several fundamental reasons. The vast territory makes comprehensive study practically impossible. Even with the most advanced technologies, only a small portion of potentially important zones can be surveyed. Extreme conditions limit research time and methods. The short summer season, dangerous weather, and logistical challenges prevent long-term observation. The multifactorial nature of the problem complicates isolating a single cause. Disappearances may result from interactions between natural, technological, psychological, and unknown factors. Lack of control data further hinders scientific analysis. Conducting experiments is difficult where human lives are at risk. Cultural and political factors influence access to information. Some areas are sacred to indigenous peoples. Military sites are classified. Modern science cannot explain all observed phenomena. Disappearances in Alaska may be linked to phenomena unexplainable by current physical theories. The vanishings continue unabated, with 673 new cases recorded between 2020 and 2024. Modern cases display the same mysterious features as disappearances from previous decades: suddenness, lack of traces, anomalous electronic device behavior, and group vanishings without apparent cause. One especially alarming incident involved the disappearance of an 8-person scientific expedition near Mendenhall Glacier in March 2023. Despite using the most advanced communication and monitoring equipment, the group vanished without a trace in just 20 minutes. At 2:42 p.m., all GPS trackers simultaneously stopped transmitting. Satellite phones went unanswered. Emergency beacons remained silent. A massive search involving 200 people and every available technology found no sign of the team. In June 2024, travel blogger Alex Chen disappeared during a live stream of his hike. Over 100,000 viewers watched in real time as he suddenly stopped, said something, and vanished from the frame. The camera continued recording for 2 hours, showing only an empty trail. In August 2024, a family of 4, parents and 2 children, went missing during a camping trip in Denali National Park. Their tent was found in perfect condition. Dinner was cooking over the fire, but the family was nowhere to be found. Searches are ongoing. These cases confirm that the disappearance phenomenon not only persists, but adapts to modern technology, finding ways to bypass even the most advanced monitoring and communication systems. The Alaskan Triangle Mystery has drawn international attention from the scientific community and governments worldwide. The European Space Agency awarded a €5 million grant for satellite research of Alaska's anomaly zones. Japan has offered to deploy its cutting-edge quantum sensor technology to investigate possible space-time anomalies. Russian scientists have shared data about similar phenomena occurring in Siberia and Chukotka. The United Nations is considering establishing an international task force to study anomalous disappearances in Arctic regions. Preliminary data indicate similar patterns in Canada, Greenland, and northern Scandinavia. Chinese researchers applied big data analysis to international disappearance statistics and uncovered correlations with solar activity, planetary positions, and other cosmic factors. The Vatican has expressed interest in the phenomenon as part of its study of unexplained events. The Pontifical Academy of Sciences included Alaskan disappearances in its research program, exploring the borderlands between science and faith. Private space companies offer services to monitor anomaly zones using networks of small satellites. SpaceX plans to launch a specialized satellite constellation to observe the Arctic region. A new generation of researchers is proposing revolutionary theories explaining the Alaskan disappearances, grounded in cutting-edge achievements of 21st century science. The theory of quantum decoherence suggests that certain parts of Alaska exist in a state of quantum uncertainty where classical physical laws break down. Humans may transition into alternative quantum states. The holographic universe hypothesis views disappearances as glitches in a holographic projection of reality. Alaska might sit at the boundary of holographic regions where information about people is erased from the projection. The dark matter theory proposes a concentration of invisible matter beneath Alaska, creating gravitational anomalies. These anomalies could warp space-time, forming wormholes to other dimensions. The bioquantum hypothesis considers quantum effects in biological systems. Alaska's electromagnetic fields might trigger quantum teleportation of living organisms at the subatomic level. The simulation theory holds that our reality is a computer simulation, and Alaska contains bugs in the program. Disappearances are errors in the simulation's code. The multiverse theory explains disappearances as transitions between parallel universes. The barriers between realities are thinnest where geomagnetic anomalies occur. The Alaskan triangle phenomenon has grown beyond a mere statistical anomaly. It symbolizes the limits of human knowledge and the power of nature. Disappearances have transformed Alaska's culture, making its people more cautious and more superstitious. Many families pass down rules of conduct in dangerous places, rooted in ancient indigenous traditions. The scientific community recognizes the need for interdisciplinary approaches to study these complex phenomena. University consortia are forging new collaborations among physicists, biologists, psychologists, and anthropologists. Tech companies use Alaskan anomalies as a testing ground for new systems. Equipment able to function in harsh Alaskan conditions is seen as ready for any extreme situation. Popular culture has made the Alaskan Triangle an icon of modern mysteries, on par with the Bermuda Triangle or the Zone of Ivan's 50. The phenomenon inspires artists, writers, and filmmakers. Philosophers use the mystery to explore the boundaries of rationality and the role of the unknown in human experience. Alaska has become a metaphor for the unknown in the age of omnipresent technology. More than 20,000 missing persons over half a century is not just a statistic, but an unimaginable human tragedy. Behind every number are shattered families, broken dreams, and unsolved mysteries. Alaska remains humanity's final frontier, not just geographically, but scientifically. Here, modern technology clashes with forces beyond our understanding of reality. The disappearance phenomenon shows that despite all scientific and technological advances, the world is full of riddles beyond our current knowledge. Perhaps the solution lies in new physical theories yet to be discovered, or phenomena beyond the material world. The search continues. Every day, new researchers arrive in Alaska, armed with the latest scientific and technological tools. Families of the missing never lose hope. Authorities improve search and rescue services, but Alaska keeps its secrets. The silent tundra, snowy mountains, and endless forests continue to swallow people without a trace. This ancient land, which remembers times before humans, seems to remind us that mankind is but a guest in this harsh world. Maybe some secrets are not meant to be solved. Maybe the Alaskan Triangle will forever stand as a reminder that beyond human understanding lie forces surpassing even our boldest theories and technologies. As the snow keeps falling on Alaska's endless expanses, the mystery of the disappearances stays unsolved. And somewhere in that white desert, the voices of 20,000 missing souls call out. To those who still believe answers can be found. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments below.